There we go, Chair. I think we're ready when you are.
Right, I'd like to welcome everyone to this hybrid meeting of the Statutory Licensing Committee. This meeting is being broadcast live over the internet and will be available to view online now and in the future. May I remind members that as per statutory guidance made under Section 4 of the Local Government Wales Measure 2011 and our formally adopted hybrid meeting policy, any member attending a meeting remotely must be able to be seen and heard by the members and officers who are attending the meeting, as well as by members of the public viewing the meeting. So can I ask you please use your cameras for the duration of the meeting. We welcome the use of Welsh language at meetings. I've had no requests for people to speak Welsh today, so this meeting will be conducted in English only. Members in the chamber, please be aware that we're all on camera and that you may be visible on screen when people around you are speaking, and please remember to speak clearly into your microphones. Members participating remotely, can you please refrain from using the chat function and instead use the raised hand icon to indicate when you want to speak. And please remember to keep your microphone muted when you are not talking. Okay, thank you for that. We'll now move on to the agenda, which is item 1. Chris, have you had any apologies, please?
We have, Chair. We have apologies from Councillors Liam Coles, Norma Parish and David Thomas.
Thank you for that. We'll move on to item 2 then. Declaration of interest. Members, anybody got any interest they need to declare? If going through you do think about it, just please say about it. Okay, thank you. We'll then move on to item 3 then, which is minutes of the last meeting, and that was on the 26th of the 9th, 24, and that's page 3 to 6. Okay, members, you possibly state whether you have anything to raise in relation to the minutes. If not, I would take them as approved. Nobody got anything? Are we all happy with that? Right, thank you. We then move on to the next item, which is item 4, minutes of the previous licensing hearings, page 7 to 14. Are we all happy to note the minutes? Or has anybody got any questions? No? Okay, we're happy to note that. We then move on to item 5, which is the amendment to the Constitution and licensing matters. And that's page 15 to 32. Claire, would you like to deliver your report, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'll just find the correct appendices. Thank you. Thank you, members. You'll have seen from the report that there had previously been one licensing committee, and in 2020 it was divided into the 2 committees, the Statutory Licensing Committee and the General Licensing Committee. And at that point the Constitution changed to reflect that situation. 4 years on, we now see that there needs to be some amendments to that to make it easier to read and to make it clearer for people to interpret the Constitution. The first appendix that I'm sharing at the moment is to Part 7, and that's Appendix 1. And you'll see that there are some track changes to the hopefully you'll see that. I'd gone too far. Apologies. You'll see that it's basically broken down so that it sets out very clearly what the Statutory Licensing Committee is, what the functions and powers are, and the same with the General Licensing Committee. The other amendments that are proposed are to reflect the number changes to that and how that reflects in the rest of the document. Hopefully that's self-explanatory, but if anybody's got any questions in relation to that, I'll obviously answer those now. Thank you.
Anybody got any questions for Claire at all?
No, thank you. So I'll stop sharing that one, and then I'm going to move on to the next, which is slightly more complex, and this is in relation to Appendix 10 of the Constitution. In your reports, that's Appendix 2 and 3. So if I take you to Appendix 2, that's the current Appendix 10. Sorry, it's all a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Which basically has the matters that are covered by both licensing committees in the first section. Then it moves on to the statutory licensing panel. Then it moves on to the general licensing panel. And then it moves back to matters that are dealt with by both committees. And so what we've tried to do, if I stop sharing that, because this is the proposed version that I'm now going to show you, which is Appendix 3 of your report. Oh, but I've somehow lost the ability to share that. Do apologise. So Appendix 3, so now the proposed version is that has both the Statutory Licensing Committee and General Licensing Committee, matters that relate to both of those committees at the beginning, and then it moves on to what the panels specifically will be asked, dividing it into the Statutory Licensing Committee functions and the general licensing panel functions. The other suggested amendments are that the head of public protection, and give me while I just get his title up, the head of public protection and environment is also added in as somebody who can refer matters back to the licensing committee. This is to reflect the changes in authorisations that have been made within the council. It had previously just been the strategic director of economy and environment. Then when you see, as you'll see on the screen, there are a couple of things that are highlighted here. So we're proposing that these bullet points are the essentially examples of what the general licensing panels will deal with. We're proposing to take out reservoirs because largely it's not the local authority that deals with those. And we're proposing to add in mobile home sites and town and village green applications. Again, all of this is just to simplify things so that officers and also members of the public can see at a glance that those are matters that would be dealt with by the panel, by the general licensing panel, but also so that, but those are, it's not an exhaustive list. So even if anything came up that needed to be dealt with by general licensing panel, this change to the constitution wouldn't change anything. The only other thing that has changed slightly is the name of the panels, and it's just to say that each panel will be called either General Licensing Panel or a Statutory Licensing Panel, just to make it very clear which panel is dealing with a matter. That's my report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Claire. Any members got any questions to put to Claire about the report? Nobody? We're all happy with that, aren't we? Excuse me. If everybody's happy, then we'll move on to the recommendation, which is on page 17 of your agenda. Members consider and comment on the proposed change of the Constitution. Is there anything you want to say before we move on to make the decision? No. Do members agree with the recommendations? Yeah. Anybody that doesn't? Everybody's agreed. Thank you for that. We then move on to item 6, which is the workload update, quarters 1 and 2. That's April 2024 to September 2024. And that's on page 33 to 44. Who's delivering the report? Claire? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The report for Statutory Licensing Committee this morning is to update members on the work activities of the licensing team during quarters 1 and quarter 2 of the 2024-25 reporting period for matters that fall to the Statutory Licensing Committee, that being the Licensing Act 2003 and the Gambling Act 2005. To give an overview of the matters dealt with by the licensing team in relation to the Licensing Act 2003, a total of 24 complaints was received in the reporting period. These complaints involved noise nuisance, and 8 complaints involved noise nuisance, and where appropriate, information has been shared with the Council's environmental health team to deal with as a potential statutory noise nuisance. A complaint was received alleging that a licensed premises had been staying open past permitting hours. Additional information was requested in order for the team to investigate, but this was not forthcoming, so the complaint was unable to be progressed. 5 complaints were received during the reporting period concerning the sale of alcohol to underage persons. All premises have been visited and advice given, including advice on age verification processes and staff training. All information received relating to underage sales is routinely shared with the Council's Trading Standards team, who undertake test purchasing of age-restricted goods. 2 licensing hearings was held during the reporting period. One related to an application for a premises licence to be granted under the provisions of the Licensing Act 2003, and a number of objections received, including one from the police, and that's detailed in section 4.1.6 of the report. In quarter 2, an application for a personal alcohol licence was considered at a licensing panel hearing. The application could not be determined by licensing officers due to a police objection being received in relation to the application following the disclosure of an unspent conviction of a relevant offence. After considering the application, the police objection and the applicant being given the opportunity to provide an explanation, the licensing panel refused the application. There were no complaints received in relation to the Gambling Act 2005 during the reporting period. The workload activities undertaken by the team are included in the activity report, which is attached at Appendix A. Some of the targets in place have not been achieved, and this is due to staff resourcing pressures within the team, which have resulted in some delays in meeting service response teams. There is a recruitment process currently underway, and it is hopeful that the vacant post will be filled mid-January. There have been no complaints against service during the reporting period for matters falling to the Statutory Licensing Committee for determination. It is recommended that members note and comment on the content of the report and note the activity report for April 24 to September 24. Thank you, Chair. That's my report.
Any members got any questions? Councillor.
Claire, we talk about recruitment and we talk about going into January for that recruitment. You also say that there's been delays. How much of a delay, how much of an impact has the reduction of staff, despite the fact that you're looking for new staff, impacted the department?
I haven't got any figures to sort of give you in relation to exactly. As I mentioned, we have had to sort of cut back on our service response times, but please be assured, members, that anything of high priority has been dealt with accordingly. Hopefully the recruitment process that's currently being undertaken, and hopefully that vacant post will be filled in January, will then help the licensing team to be able to increase that service response time.
Okay. Agree with that, Councillor. Councillor Clarkson, you've got a question for Claire as well, please.
Yeah, just very briefly, Chair, if I might. Are we likely to make any progress with catching up with the targets when the new recruitment process has been gone through?
Thank you, Councillor Clarkson. We will try our best. I can't sort of say we will. Obviously, we are a very reactive service. We react to things as and when they occur, but we will obviously try our best to make progress with the targets that have been set.
Yeah, just to the comments, I'm confident that you will prioritise business so that the most priority-based things will get dealt with, but thanks for that answer.
Our priority is public safety, and obviously, you know, we will deal with things on a prioritised basis.
and hopefully we will be able to catch up on our targets in the new year.
Any other members would like to ask a question of Claire? No. Well, the recommendation is on page 35 of your agenda, and it states that the committee note the contents of the report and the activity report for April 2024 to September 24. The members agree with the recommendations? Yeah. Anybody against? No? That's been carried. Thank you. Item 7 is the date of the next meeting, which is the 20th of the 2nd, 25. That's member note about that. But then we move on to item 8, which is the exclusion of the press and public. I will state, do members agree to the exclusion of the press and public from the meeting as presentation and meeting papers not for publication? Because in accordance with paragraph 12 of 14 of part 4 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972, as amended by the Access to Information Variant Order Wales 2007. It contains information about a particular individual and information relating to the financial and business affairs of particular persons, including the Council, and in all the circumstances of the case of the public interest, in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information. Are we all in agreement to that? Yeah. Thank you for that. Chris, can you turn the webcast off?